my morning has been filled with texts about flights, and then not industry people, but friends and family that are like, what the hell is happening with Constellation stock? It's down like 14% right now.
Yeah. Well, the road goes on forever, but it turns out the party doesn't. Robert Earl Keen or somebody.
It was Robert Earl Keen. I think this blip might be a little more momentary than we thought.
Just like inflation was transitory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, man, it's the law of big numbers, and they've been feeding off light beer's carcass for a long time, and I think just overall, unless overall demand picks up, I think everybody's in for a rough year. Even though my prediction was that we were going to have a great year.
Well, you got me thinking after you said that, and I was like, you know what? It should be a good year.
It should be.
The top two brands, what will soon be the top two brands, should be growing. The hard seltzer is kind of done.
Right.
The terrible declines, and everyone kind of sold off their distractions, and it's like, this is going to be a reset year. This might actually be a good year. And now, like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. This health and wellness thing might be real. Right? I mean, doesn't everybody drink less than they did before the pandemic?
Yeah. Well, and everyone I know has at least tried to participate in a sober month challenge. And once you do one of those, I think we've talked about it before, there's residual effects of, I don't need to drink during, the weekdays, and
right, which
I'm
is
spending
a ridiculous notion, by the way. Yeah. You should be drinking. That's the best time to drink, is during the week, because then you're cheating the man.
Yeah.
What you drink on the weekend, you're hungover half the time on your time. Yeah, you hungover on their dime, is what I say.
You didn't do anything to earn a beer over the weekend after a long day's work.
Right. Unless you're mowing your lawn.
Yeah. There you go.
We are delighted to have some guests here from Surfside, really the company that has taken the nation by storm in the last few years with their hard teas. And they have a vodka too. Let's not, stateside vodka. And so, Jen, we've got Jen on the line. What a surprise. We weren't sure if you were going to show up. So, Jen, why don't you introduce our guests?
I snuck in the bag after a late flight cancellation. So anyway, I'd like to welcome to BeerNet Radio, Clement Pappas, co-founder and chief of Surfside, the top vodka and tea brand that took first Philly and New Jersey by storm. And as Harry said, then the rest of the country. And I think you guys closed out 2024 at north of 3 million cases, but we'll get into that. I mean, definitely north of that, because I think you hit that as of September. So welcome, Clem.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
And thank you.
Good to see you looking like you're in decent health.
Well,
the hip feeling good.
The hip feels good. I'm walking without a cane unless I need it for a prop. And I got thank you for the Surfside hat, by the way. I hope you got the Zins I sent you from my private.
I did.
Okay, I got a man.
Private collection.
I got a man who knows a man. So.
Yeah, good to see y'all. And I'll be seeing y'all, in a day and a half here. So
if we can get there.
Thanks for fitting me in under the wire. I know it's a busy time right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, tell us how you finished out 2024. Because like I said, you told me in September you already hit 3 million cases, but there was still a lot left in the year.
Yeah. So, 2024, look, bottom line, we just came short of 5 million. So final numbers are just trickling in. We're about 4.925. Obviously we were hoping to get to 5, but by any standard, a big success, and we were thrilled with that. So, that's on the Surfside piece. Stateside vodka soda, make sure I give you the right number in front of me, but, that was in the 640,000 case range, and, also up about 48%. So we were thrilled with that. And 2024 was really a year for us about building out our distribution network, making sure we got that national footprint, putting at least in place like our first wave and layer of sales and marketing folks. And so 2025 is also going to be a big year for us. We got a lot of execution, a lot on tap. I'm sure we can get into it, but as we've kind of gone sort of northeast and spread out from there, the brand is kind of most developed in that core. And then, for the most part, as you get farther away from that core is where we have more work to do our brand development.
Yeah, nice. And then, well, okay, so one of the things we've been talking about the last couple of months, this is a super hot category, right? Now growing into a category. And obviously Boston's gotten into it, and you guys have kind of traded back and forth like, I'm bigger. No, I'm bigger. So, set the record straight.
Somebody got a tape measure? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, can you put any color around, you and your biggest competitor? I mean, are y'all neck and neck, or what is that looking like from where you stand?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to always focus on depletions, right? Because I think that's the best metric. You certainly can take Nielsen numbers and slice and dice them for, specific pieces of the category and things like that. But, I would say overall, we feel very comfortable that, on a national basis, we're maintaining our lead there. They're certainly putting a big push on, and getting after it seems to be like it's one of, if not their biggest bets in their portfolio right now, certainly outside of their, core brands that they have. So, yeah, I mean, we're definitely poised to be going at it as we enter 2025. But again, we've kind of taken the position of, hey, what we're doing is working. Consumers are happy, the distributors are happy, retailers are happy, and we're sticking to kind of our core game plan.
Yeah, and your eyes are really on High Noon, right? You're wanting to bridge that gap, right?
Yeah, not necessarily as like, hey, we want to take High Noon's lunch, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, when you look at this category, it's still such a nascent category. High Noon's really the only model out there as a spirits-based, canned RTD that has scaled. And so that's really the model we have when we look out. They're, I think, in their 6th or 7th year. So Surfside's now in its 3rd year. So when you look out at how can this thing scale, that's the best model we have. And so that's what we kind of base our trajectory off of.
Yeah, so 10 million cases coming down the pike.
That's our goal for next year. Yeah. We think it's attainable.
10 for next year. Yeah. Wow. That is a BHAG.
A big hairy. I read that book as well.
Audacious goal. Who used to say that was the old president of Coors, Leo Kiley. He was always about BHAG. But I got to ask you, Clem, I noticed that the TTB has altered their standards of fill for, so it seems like now you can get into the tall boy or bigger can that doesn't have to be resealable for a spirit-based brand. Is that something that opens anything up for you?
Yeah, we think so. I mean, frankly, Harry, that's so hot off the presses. We haven't quite gotten our arms around it, and we knew that was out there. I'm used to the wheels of government turning much more slowly. So
I was surprised too. When I saw it, I was like, did they hit send by accident?
Right.
Because the TTB usually takes 8 years just to make the slightest change in the code.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad it wasn't like the Surgeon General one dropping at the last minute. Yeah. So this was a much more welcome one. But for sure, we haven't obviously this quickly firmed up any exact plans, but on our side, getting that resealable end has been a huge barrier for us. I mean, we're getting into it. We've got the plans to do it this year. We'll probably stick to that for at least the first half of the year, and as we evaluate the alternatives. But that can adds a ton of logistical complex, or the end, I should say, with the resealable. Adds a ton of supply chain complexity, a ton of lead time. It's expensive. There's only certain plants that can run it. So even if we just stick with the 24 ounce with a conventional end, it's going to make life a lot easier and make us a lot more nimble. And I think, this also opens up, if I'm reading it right, I think, we're still confirming, but looks like it's targeted towards a 16 and a 19.2 can as well. So that would give us kind of, all the major options in the playbook there. And we'll certainly evaluate those.
I like how the TTB sets their rules and milliliters and liters.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like that. It's that famous that SNL skit that came out recently where what's his name, Jordan, the comedian,
Which one?
Yeah. On
where
SNL?
he's playing General Washington, and he goes,
Oh, Nate
and we shall
Bargatze.
have feet, except in dorky sports like running. And anyway,
It's a good skit. Yeah.
it's a great skit. But I love how the government's doing it in liters. The industry does it in ounces. You know, I remember when Texas would do alcohol by weight instead of alcohol by volume. So you had to have both on every can. Like those, at least the states have kind of cleaned up their mess. So at least you don't have to have a lot of different packages in each state. But yeah,
What do you guys think? Curious your opinion. If you were looking at Surfside, what do you think the ideal tall boy package would be?
With your presence in venues, I would say maybe
19.
a little bit above that. Yeah,
19.
maybe 19. Y'all have 24s, right?
Well,
Yeah.
up until this rule change, which I don't even know if it's effective yet. I mean, yeah, that was the only game in town, and you had to have that resealable. So we're coming out. I mean, we're calling them our longboards, which we're excited about. So we've got
Smart.
5 flavors rolling out, and again, to your point, it's mainly a venue play as well as convenience, and of course, being spirits based, we're limited as to which states the convenience channel is open to us, but in those states where it is, we think it's a great route to market and a great way, frankly, to drive trial because it's your lowest point of entry into the category.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking more C-store, grab and go, a twofer, a BOGO, as they call it.
Mhm.
And, it depends on the price point, I think, whether to go to 16 or 19 or 24.
Yeah, that certainly plays into it. I would say Surfside's pretty crushable at least if my drinking habits are any indication of how the general public consumes it. But you always worry with the 24s, it's starting to get hot by the time you get to the end of it. But
19 solid venue play.
yeah.
Plus, then they buy more, right? You want them to buy more.
More is better, right?
Well, yeah. Don't let what's his name? Don't let Murphy know. More
Yeah.
is
Murphy.
Less
Murphy's
is better.
Law.
Dr.
Murphy's Law.
Murphy.
Yeah, doctor.
Yeah, I'd like to see the receipt on that.
Sick. Kind of guy that eats his steak well done, I think. I don't know.
Who wants that? Well, yeah. I mean, we've been talking about it, and I think you were actually the one that brought it up. How do you feel about that, Clem? When the Surgeon General came, I mean, Brown-Forman's down today for no apparent reason other than maybe Constellation was a little softer than we would have thought that they would be on the beer side. I think it's this conglomeration of people conglomeration of things where people are like, whoa, is alcohol in trouble? Right? What do you think? Like from a consumer standpoint, from this wellness standpoint?
Yeah, I'm a believer in the industry. Obviously, look, I'm here. I've invested in it. I think there was some study I saw at one point where like the consumption of ethanol gallons, whether it was beer, wine, or spirits, if you just took it all and boiled it down to ethanol gallons, it kind of has this range, pretty narrow range that it fluctuates between over long periods of time. And, I think you're going to be hard pressed to change that. I think one thing that's been really overrated is just a lot of people overconsumed in COVID. And now there's kind of this feeling of, hey, like we really overdid it, guys. Like, let's just back off a little bit. And so, you see that in the trade with people with inventory, or there's too much inventory in the pantry. But I also think you see it in people's attitudes. I mean, my wife's a good example. She was like, look, I just need to back off and get in shape and, get my health right and stuff like that. And, I see that amongst a number of people, but I think over time, that gets a little more distant and changes. I think the cannabis thing is potentially real and significant, but also still really an unknown, how that's going to play out. So, I'm still a believer, in beverage alcohol. I think alcohol has been, with our society for, I mean, I don't know. Does it go back before written history? Maybe. I mean, it's certainly in the Bible and well before that. And so I just, our trend's going to come and go. Our consumption patterns are going to slightly wax and wane. I think so. Yeah. But I have a hard time believing that we're going to go back to a prohibition and, a real negative trend.
That's a great quote. And it's true, obviously, but it's in the Bible. How bad for you could it be? Have you ever heard of the blood of Christ?
I want to point out that baby Jesus doesn't turn wine into water. Okay. He's like, we're too unhealthy. We need more hydration here. No, he turned water into wine because that's more fun. And, even back then,
I mean, imagine how great the wedding would have been if you turned all the wine into water. It would have
been terrible.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Because I imagine that, he's got a tuxedo t-shirt, and things are fun. We're going to have to cut this for our Catholic listeners, and me being one of them.
Yeah, right.
Me being another, but
right. Well, I was raised Catholics.
Hey, I don't know if you followed college football, but that game
I stayed up and watched Penn. I'm in Penn State country. I did not go to Penn State, but a number of my coworkers and founders and friends did. So the mood here is a little grim today.
I bet. What a game, though!
Great game.
Unbelievable.
What a game. Unbelievable.
What do you think? I think I'm sorry to say I think they're run-ins here. I'm a UT alum, and I think they're run-ins here.
Ohio State looks really good.
Yeah.
Enough football. Let's talk booze.
Right.
So when are we going to see the Surfside NA, Surfside 0%? Is that one shipping for dry January?
Not frankly, not in the cards right now. Something maybe in the idea file. On the back burner, but definitely not on the front radar right now. I mean, to be honest with you, what we've done has been pretty ambitious, and we just can't get distracted with too many things right now. We gotta stick to what we're doing.
You did have a big launch in 2024 with Lemonade. So how big was it? And I think we've talked a little bit about this before, but what were the learnings from a non-hard tea? Because I know you talked about like some people didn't want caffeine and the lemonade was a good option. So can you just kind of walk us through all of that?
Yeah, no, I'd be glad to. It was frankly, beyond our expectations. We were caught a little bit. We probably could have sold more. But again, it was a new item and we didn't have any, historical forecast to go off of. So we were a little bit short for periods of time over the summer. Particularly with that lemonade variety pack. But yeah, I mean, particularly in new markets where we were putting them side by side, for example, Florida, which is about, we sort of filled out Florida, incrementally. It took us about a year to fill out the whole state, but, essentially its first full year in 2024. And, it sold at parity with the original variety pack. And we were seeing it right up there in established markets. So, we see it as totally incremental. It's given the consumer other options. We're seeing people switch back and forth to your point earlier, caffeine. So some people are kind of dialing up and dialing down how much caffeine I want. Maybe I had a few iced teas during the day, but as it's getting later in the day, I want to, peel back on that caffeine. I think the other piece of it is we're seeing, and we're still learning, to be quite frank. We don't have all the data I would like to have, but we're also seeing it open up to different demographic palate tastes, whether it be, Hispanic seems to be a much more prefer the lemonade style than the iced tea style. Skews a little more heavily female. So we think there's some incrementality and some opportunity there as well.
Have you seen other people or heard about other people wanting to do a lemonade too? Because it felt like once y'all did a tea, there was a lot of other vodka teas coming out.
What's funny you should mention our friends at Boston Beer. They came up with an idea for lemonade. So we see that's being rolled out. They're going to have a lemonade pack similar to ours. I have not, to this point, heard of any others. Neutral's got one and they've been pushing it, but again, that's a kind of in the carbonated. It's sort of almost like a lemonade seltzer, which I would, but there's some differentiation there, right? It's not exactly the same offering.
Have you thought about a sleeper launch, like something that you're not really planning to do, but just to get people going the other way?
Yeah, you need to file with the TTB a cola for like a pomegranate or something just off the walls, and then just to see as everybody scrambles. That'd be funny.
No, I mean, as far as flavor launches this year, our big one will be green tea variety pack. And so we did come out last year, kind of in our core markets. We put it out there actually a year early because we just felt like the liquid came out really great. Shout out to our formulation people. Kate in particular did an awesome job with the green tea, and personal feeling, we'll see once it gets out there, but I think it's largely incremental. I think there's a green tea drinker that is not necessarily a tea or lemonade drinker. So we're hoping to bring more people into the category. I'm not sure it's, quite as large of a market when you look at the pool of consumers that are green tea drinkers, but I think on the positive side, the only alcoholic green tea out there that I'm aware of at all is the Arizona offering, which is relatively new and within a variety pack. So we're gonna have the only spirits based one. We've got a variety pack, got some really cool flavors in it. One of my favorite ones is like a green tea Arnold Palmer, right? So it's like half green tea, half lemonade, and that's a really cool flavor profile. As well as we've got mango and peach. So looking forward to seeing how that does. That's going to get some pretty decent distribution this year, and be interesting to see how that one plays out.
I think the green tea is going to surprise you how big that market is. I think because Arizona has proved really, because they give a lot of space to it in C-stores.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe that there's a silent green tea drinker out there.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to admit being a green tea drinker, but
there's like the shy Trump voter. That
exactly. The polls do not reflect the sentiment. Okay,
right.
So this is a sleeper, and we'll come back on this podcast in 8 months, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. So,
yeah, we also think there may be some regional differences, right? Like, does it play heavier on the West Coast, as an example?
Right.
So that one's going to be interesting. But we're, be interested to hear your guys' feedback. I mean, we're trying to be careful to put out, always the best possible liquid. We don't like to put it out if we really don't think it's ready. But also, we don't want to sort of overexpand the brand beyond where it really has a license to operate. And so, I'm not saying there'll never be any more innovation, but I don't think there's, 7 more variety packs that we can come out with. We feel like, hey, we've got tea, we've got lemonade, we've got green tea. They're color coded, right? So they're kind of, visually intuitive to the consumer when you look at the shelf. They all match the Surfside branding, of course, but there's green, there's yellow, there's blue. I get worried about cluttering up the category with too much stuff. But on the other hand, there's always the tension of, hey, how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it exciting? What are you going to tell people that's new? Be curious your guys' thoughts on how to balance that.
I would offer just like random coupons in certain packs, kind of like the Chocolate Factory. And if you get a ticket, then you get like a puppy or something. you get some sort of animal, or maybe an exotic iguana.
Animal.
I'm into giving out animals. In fact, I will offer my dogs as.
Yeah, this is really what the point is here, Clem. He's trying to offload his puppy.
Right.
That's all.
No, I don't know, man. I think you're right, though. I've said it on the. I don't want to keep repeating myself on this podcast, but like for the last 3 podcasts, I've said I think 25 is going to be the year where a lot of suppliers hold back on innovation, because there's been so much post-pandemic that there's a little bit of fatigue there. And so I think you're right that everybody's in that mindset, especially wholesalers, of, hey, how about organic growth? Growing the shit we already have.
Well, and then, I'd counter that question with the question, if you don't go the route of innovation, to Harry's point, and I think, there's a little bit of innovation fatigue, are there any levers left to pull on marketing, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I think there's other things too, like pack sizes. We've kind of, just frankly, to be, expeditious, we've kind of followed the industry standards, right? And in spirits-based RTDs, that means that an 8-pack is a variety pack vehicle, and a 4-pack is a single flavor vehicle. What we see in more developed markets where the brand is built up, it's like, what are you going to do with 4 cans, right? I mean, it's just like not a lot. So, I think there's some opportunity there to offer some more pack sizes that are, a better value proposition and make more sense for how people are. I mean, I see people, with these 4-packs like falling all over them. It's like, they're obviously looking to buy more than that. So makes sense. It was the easiest way to get to market because that's what the buyers and the trade is used to seeing. But I think there's some opportunity with that as well.
Package size. Totally. Well, but so what are you doing this year with marketing? Is there anything new? Are you guys looking? I mean, I know you've been very social media oriented, right? Is there, and obviously you have all the partnerships at stadiums and things like that. Anything new, maybe any TV, radio, anything else experiential?
Yeah, TV, no. Radio, yes. And we are pretty active on radio now, particularly in good sports talk radio markets. You'll see a lot more of what we've been doing in previous years in new markets. I'm not at liberty. There's a lot of kind of contracts and things being signed as we speak, but can circle back to you probably in a month or two and get you a final list. But you can see a significant uptick in the sports marketing that we'll be doing across the country. I think, last year we had kind of some of our core markets and we were a little bit opportunistic if we saw one here or there, but this year we've got a more thoughtful plan about how we've gone into every market and what we're looking to do. And we've got a playbook that we like and we think it works pretty well. Obviously you can't do everything the same in every market, or whatever. That sponsorship opportunity is not always available in every market. Maybe somebody else is already there in front of you, but you'll see a big increase in more of what we've been doing, but in more markets.
Cool. One other one I wanted to get in, of course, as Harry knows, I always have one more question. And one of the things that we talk about too with the RTD world, are you guys happy with your distributors right now, right? You guys are with a mostly beer footprint, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. No, big time. Again, we were up 382% this year in Nielsen. So if you take all the Nielsen data between beer, wine, and spirits, I don't know if you saw Bump's report, but we actually had the number one growth rate among beer, wine, and spirits. We didn't have the number one dollar rate. We were still sort of top 5-ish on total dollar growth. But so something's going right. And I kind of preach to you guys, like, I think through dumb luck a little bit and trial and error, we kind of figured out that beer was the right route to market for these RTD products. And so we've been thrilled. There's a lot of great partners we have across the country. There's a couple we're making some changes. We just did move to the Bud Network in Wisconsin, so that'll be new this year. There's a couple minor ones, but in terms of our major partners, we're thrilled. And everybody's excited. We just got done with ABP season. People are shot out of a cannon. We're ready to go get it.
Well, that's a lot too. I mean, you said so, like up 300 and something percent. That's the highest among bev-alc, not for dollars, but I guess for unit sales growth, right?
Yep.
That's expensive though too, right? Are you guys cool keeping up with that growth? From a capitalistic standpoint, is that all good to go?
Yeah, we're in good shape. We have some great banking partners, and we're self-funded at this point in terms of between the banks and what the business is generating. So we're in good shape there. I mean, more money's always better, of course, but
more money, more problems. That's what I say. Yeah. So I shun money.
You shun money?
Well, I that's called sour grapes, Jen. All my investments always fail, so then I turned it into a good thing because money corrupts. But I was going to say that I would imagine, having not seen the numbers, that you probably have a lot of run room just in physical distribution and accounts. Is that true?
Absolutely. And I mean, even in our core markets, we still think we have, we're sort of projecting like 50% growth in core markets. But certainly as you get, farther away from our core, it's a lot of white space.
Yeah.
So we feel like, there's still quite a bit out there.
And I remember that you have a pretty high percentage on premise, and a lot of that's venues where your core market is. But what about just like regular on premise, just like bars and restaurants? Is there any action there?
Yeah. You'd be surprised. One of our top 10 accounts in the city of or in the state of Pennsylvania is FOP Lodge. So, not necessarily, beach club or a golf course or whatever, but we can play well in all those places, frankly. I mean, I would say family dining and stuff is probably, the Olive Gardens of the world are not necessarily where we want to be, or not where we want to be, but where we're going to do the most volume. But yeah, I mean, I think anywhere where people are, having a drink and watching a game or hanging out and, looking to have a few drinks, it basically satisfies pretty much all beer occasions.
Right.
I'd have a Surfside with a breadstick.
Yeah. Little fettuccino Alfredo a la Surfside.
That sounds like a college order.
Unlimited breadsticks.
Like some Surfside. Y'all should have a deal. A BOGO, as Harry says.
I love that they give unlimited breadsticks. It's like nobody needs a second basket of bread. Like you don't even really need the first. But I love that that's only in America will they offer just to keep feeding you breadsticks until you just fall over and die. I love that.
Used to be salad too. I don't know if they
nobody gets that. Nobody gets the extra salad. Of course you did.
Their salad was good.
It was.
I still buy their salad dressing. I have Olive Garden salad dressing in my fridge. It's good.
I like how we're talking about it as if it's dead. It is still a chain. It's still there.
Remember the OG? Yeah. Well, you know what? All of this, I think, has been leading up to this big question is, are you scared that George Clooney's coming for your space?
George Clooney.
He's getting into vodka. He's gonna make the next big tequila in vodka.
This is unconfirmed. I'd like to point out.
Sorry, this is Harry's rumor.
Yeah, well, Clooney made so much money with Casamigos that he wants to replicate it again. And we've heard that vodka is the vehicle for that. And we don't really know anything more than that, but I don't know if it's an RTD or what, but does lightning strike twice? I don't know, because that's been hard to replicate. Other stars have tried to do it with mixed results. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we've toyed with the celebrity thing. Obviously, Clooney's an A-lister, but you look around and for every couple of celebrity-backed brands that do well, there's probably 100 of them that haven't done well, and so. We've been very picky. Obviously, we've never gotten to the finish line with any of the celebrity deals. But look, I would just view it as there's going to be more entrants, and that's how it is. That's the world we live in. It's a free market enterprise system, and that's going to happen. I think what I see with the celebs, and even to some degree, if a big Anheuser-Busch or Molson Coors or Constellation, I mean, they're going to get it out there.
Yeah.
They're going to get it to the shelves. They're going to get the advertising, and then it comes down to does the consumer like it? Does it pull? Is there repeat buys? We've seen a lot of these where they come out, they put a big number on the board, and then it doesn't lap. So Casamigos obviously a success story, but there's a lot of other ones that have had trouble maintaining.
Well,
I see Jordan smiling over there. What are you thinking about, Jordan?
There's cacti.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was thinking of cacti.
Even Zoa in market right now is, that's tough with The Rock, who's pretty big. So
about as big as it gets, right?
Yeah.
Terramana, I haven't tracked where that is lately. There's been a lot of upheaval in tequila. I mean, even Casamigos, I think, is down now. It's all Don Julio.
Yeah.
Is the one that's growing. I guess Diageo's happy it's both theirs, but
yeah, right.
Ciroc is in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big trouble.
Yeah, they're trying to offload that as fast as they can, and I'm pretty sure it's free if anybody wants to pick it up. Like they'll pay you to take it. So
there's probably an opening there, right? If you think about it.
Yeah, you could for Diddy, you mean? No, just
well,
kidding.
Well, I mean, just like that was like kind of like had the high end hip hop like
Right.
yeah,
credibility
definitely
to it, and now it's like you really like P Diddy went from like a positive to like a
Oh yeah.
you know pariah. So
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think there's white space there now, and that somebody will figure that out because and then on for anybody who wants to bring back Ciroc, Enron's coming back, so it can be done.
Right? Oh my God.
In the days of ironic branding. Well, Clement, let me tell you something. We've been there with you since the beginning. Yes, I'm making a speech. We've been there with you since the beginning. It's been gratifying to watch your growth. Meteoric, I would say, is the correct adjective for that. And we look forward to your continued growth. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple days in warm, beautiful, it may not be sunny, but who cares? Just warm Palm Beach, Florida for the summit on Sunday. So thank you for being on BeerNet Radio. I hope some of your dreams have come true. And we'll see you down the road.
thank you so much. Always appreciate you guys and the time, and looking forward to a good time together next couple days.
All right, cool.